Good morning. Today is Wednesday, March 6th, 2022. It's kind of a gray tint going on. It's kind of gray outside. It's a little chilly. Molly and I went for a walk this morning before all the snow. I'm in New England, in Rhode Island, and today it's going to snow all day, starting in an hour or two. It's going to snow all day, and nothing's going to accumulate. I guess the ground temperature might be 34 or something, even though it'll be colder as the snow is descending. And the weather people are telling us that it's not going to accumulate till maybe after dark tonight, but it's not going to amount to anything today. So much snow usually isn't, let's say usually isn't too bad. So we'll hope for the best. All right, I'm going to start off this video just to mention it in passing, not to be a Debbie Downer, but I gotta just tell everyone that we lost our dog Zuzu last Friday. The detail is that she went in for some surgery, not something that was considered a risky, well, I guess all surgery is risky, but she had some surgery. The vet called me when she had finished. She had been out of surgery for about an hour. He said she was doing fine. There was no problem. And he was moving her to the recovery area where they will be giving her fluids, because before, it was a bladder thing, and before she can go home, she has to be able to pee independently before I could pick her up. He told me I'd call him at 4:30 and I could pick her up around 5. And then he called me back a few minutes later and said she had stopped breathing. And I'm not going to go into all the details, and well, this is probably detail enough, CPR, etc., but we lost her. And it was a shock, and it was tough. It is tough. But anyway, that's why when you won't hear as many dogs barking. You may see one. Well, Molly isn't the same as Zuzu. Molly was my first dog, my first Cavachon, supposed to be for me, but she just took to my husband so much that I was kind of left without a dog. So that's when I got Zuzu, also for companion for Molly, for when the both of us were, because we were still working at the time. Zuzu was 8, Molly's 10. Yeah, Zuzu was stuck like glue to me, attached to the hip, whatever kind of, whatever cliche you can think of. And Molly's cordial and everything, and we're kind of buddies, but she is Dennis's dog. So you won't see somebody with me in here all the time, like many of my videos has Zuzu in it. So that's what happened with Zuzu. We're very sad. End of story. Okay, so let's get on with what we're going to talk about today. First, I'm going to talk about this week's dishcloth, because this is the 52 weeks of dishcloth. What is that? Grouping of videos. Yeah, me and my word selection has been tough lately. This week's dishcloth is called the variegated dishcloth. And I went outside of my book, my 52 weeks of dishcloths, and picked up, I picked up, it's a knit and crochet. It's one of the little Leisure Arts little books. You can see all the dishcloths are like mapped out there, front and back. And I did this one, the variegated dishcloth. And the reason I was drawn to it is because I had that yarn. Talk about a copycat, huh? Here it is. So here it is, the variegated dishcloth. It is knit. It's very pretty. I like it a lot. Sometimes it's good to have a big one because you can take it like this and scrub. So that's and it is week 10 today, week 10. 10 weeks. Okay, so that's this week's. I am going to veer off occasionally into different dishcloth books, only because I was going to do knitting every week, because I think I'm more of a knitter now than a crocheter, and think I have more people watching that knit than crochet, but you probably do both, as I do. So the 52 weeks of dishcloths by Knit Picks is half knitting and half crochet. So I'm going to do all the knit ones for sure, so that'll give me 26. And then I might do a couple of the crocheted ones. And then I'm going to pick through some of these other books I have that I've accumulated over the years. This one has 12 designs in it, knit and crochet. This one's probably quite old. 1998. Oh, and of course, here's a little report. I'm going through this stuff on my, what we were calling the Idiot's Dishcloth last week. I want to say Joanna left a comment telling me that they are also called Grandma's Favorite, which I like much more than Idiot. So we're going to call these Grandma's Favorite. And I've done a few of these this week. Well, no, you'd seen the others. I think this was my first one. So I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these now, because these are the ones I just keep on the side of the chair when I don't have to think, or basically not count until you count to 45 and then you just decrease all the way down. But the rest of the books, I'm veering off again. This one's all crochet. This is a 1998 one as well. It's an all crochet. And it's also got a pot scrubber too. I don't know which one is the pot scrubber. I think you enclose it into something, but I'll try it when I find it. These are nice. My friend Donna from Espresso Knitters suggested that I do some of these, which are really nice. The pearl bumps make designs in the cloths. There's a Valentine's one that I just missed the opportunity to make. This one's a nice red rose. There is, oh, Be Mine, another Valentine in white. Let me put some on the back. These are all knit, so I'll be able to do some of these. I know, maybe, what's next week? Next week will be the day before St. Patrick's Day. Let me find St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to commit right now to a St. Patrick's Day. What do we have? It's red? No, that's Uncle Sam's hat. I thought it was a leprechaun's hat. It was not. Let's find St. Pat's. Oh, a mug of beer or a pot of gold. I think I want to do the pot of gold. Oh no, a shamrock. Ta-da-da. All right, next week will be a shamrock, and I'm going to do it in green. I don't have that green, but I'm going to go and get some green. I've held off for 10 weeks. I think I can buy a couple of balls of cotton yarn. And now here we have my last book here. This one I think is also, I must have been on a binge of buying books in 1998. All these leisure art books. What's going on in 98? I don't know. I think that's the year I swore off men, because I got married in 99. Yeah. Okay, so there are some cute crocheted ones, and I probably will delve into those as well. Nice ones here too. So that's just a little picture preview of what's coming up with the dishcloths. If anyone's interested in any of the dishcloths that they've seen that I can't tell you the patterns for, just leave me a comment, and what I'll do is look online and see if I can find the free version, because we don't want to infringe on copyright rights. All right, so that's the dishcloth segment of the video. I want, because this is week 10, I also want to touch on my 100-day project, my 100-day project challenge. I showed you the quilt that I'd been working on. I got it all pieced together. I was hoping that in 100 days I might finish about 4 quilts. I've finished 0 so far, but I have that top pieced together. I also have others that are already pieced and just need to be quilted. So those are in the mix to go. But I just want to say that today is day 25 of my 100-day project. And I am not as far along as I thought I would be. But when I broke it down to, as I just did, to the fact that I want to do 4 projects, I think 4 quilts in 100 days would be good. Like, I'm digging into those UFOs. So I'll keep you posted, and hopefully I might be able to get moving on some of that stuff. But I do have roadblocks, as you know. Identify your roadblocks, identify your barriers, and then you'll see why you're not doing what you want to be doing. Some of my barriers are that I'm still buying other quilts. I showed you that one that I got when I went to Emma's Quilt Cupboard. I bought a pattern and some fabric because it was on sale. And this will segue right into what we did over the last weekend. There was a road trip, espresso, 4 of the espresso knitters, and the 5th honorary espresso knitter, George, went on a road trip Sunday, and we visited Russell Gardens in Wayland, Mass. It's on Boston Post Road, and it's a real cool nursery gift shop, and they hold different days. They hold events on Sundays, I think, sometimes Saturdays, sometimes Sundays. And this weekend was a fiber event. So espresso knitters went up to see what was going on. And as it turned out, 3 of the knitters are also sewists. And so Kim got the brilliant idea that we might carpool, because Kim also realized the proximity of Russell Gardens to, well, let's say Wayland to Natick, where there's a Fabric Place basement, which is just a great place for sewists to go. And then also very, very close by was Framingham, where there is one of the sophisticate, but it's S-E-W, sophisticated, I think is the name of it. Wait a minute, I might have a slip here that tells me. So I bought a ton of stuff. No, I didn't buy a ton of stuff. I bought some stuff. I didn't bring the fiber I bought. I bought fiber at the first place with all the yarn. I bought what you'd call a roving, I guess, or just a fiber braid, or I don't know what you'd call it. It's used to make thrum. Well, no, it's used for spinning, basically. It's fiber that you can spin into yarn. But there is a technique of thrumming, I guess it would be called, where you can make mittens, you can make anything thrummed. It's basically a technique where as you make your knit stitch, you pull off a piece of fiber, put it over your knitting needle, bring it through, and it makes a little fiber. There's a little fiber V in your stitch, but it leaves the ends of that fiber on the inside of your garment. And what happens over time is all those little thrums on the inside of the garment bind together as wool does when it felts. If there's activity, agitation, just the rubbing of putting your hands in the gloves. And well, I had made a pair of thumbs with our Quilt Guild a couple of years ago, and I never really wore them. My hands are never really that cold, but I wore them this year when I was cleaning my car off after a snowstorm, and they were so absolutely amazing, because not only does the natural wool keep your hands so warm, but it kind of wards off the moisture. I couldn't believe I was just using my hand even to clear the windshield, and I couldn't feel the dampness, and my hands were nice and warm. And my husband does a lot of snow removal in the winter, because he works at the church, and he's the custodian, the maintenance, he does everything there at the church. And when it snows, he's shoveling for hours. So I said, why don't you try? He goes, I can't find my good mittens. I said, why don't you try my mittens? And mine are kind of like rainbow color with pink thrums in them. They were very pretty. I say were because I let him try them, and he absolutely loved them. He's colorblind, so he doesn't care what color it is, first of all, and he's colorblind, can't see it. So he wore them, and they worked out real well for him. So that was why I bought some roving, to make some more mittens for him. And maybe and I got a nice gray, so I'll probably do a gray-black kind of thing. But I forgot to bring that braid in. I left that. That was the one thing I was supposed to go get, and I forgot. So anyway, that's what I got at the Fiber Festival. Then the 3 of us who had carpooled, Kim, Donna, and myself, we carpooled. So then we found a place for lunch. We went to Panera, and then it was like, I think 8 minutes away from where we were initially, or 10 minutes, 15 tops. We went over to Fabric Place basement, and I got a few things that I've been needing. I don't know, I didn't see this at the fiber show, but this is Eucalyptus. I use this for washing all my knits, and I was in need of this, and all my local yarn shops either didn't have it or had the little bottles, which they also had at Fabric Place Basement. But I rather invest. This is only like $14.29, and you use sometimes not even a capful, and I get the eucalyptus scent. I think there's a lavender. This stuff is the best. It's just so wonderful. And if you use this, you don't have to rinse, because that's the type of detergent. It's a lanolin enriched laundry concentrate with eucalyptus oil. I love this stuff. Well, so I got a bottle of that at Fabric Place Basement. I got 2 fat quarters that I'm going to be using on a black and white quilt that I'm making. More about that in a minute. I bought this. It's fabric that is samples of colors of fabric. I'm going to make a bag from this because the woman had it on display in the shop with a bag made, and of course if I see it I want it, so I got this. I got some flannel. Flannel was on sale 25% off, and I'm making some more design boards. I have a design wall, but I make these design boards. Actually, I can link to a video that I showed how I make these design boards, because I learned how to make them from a Lori Holt video. It's made with that thicker, let me show you. They're made with these Dollar Tree. It's not exactly poster board. It's like, I don't know if you can see the width on there, but see how it's a wide width? It's, what do they call it? They call it foam board. Yeah, that's what it is. It's foam board. And I need a couple of big ones. I have one that's about 18 by 18, and that's pretty good, but I think I want to make a couple that are 18 by 15 for a new quilt I'm starting, that I shouldn't be starting, but I am. So this goes on the board, and instead of gluing it with hot glue, I saw a video, and I'll give the person credit because I've never seen her before, and I just ran into one video by her. Instead of making these things with hot glue, she uses the heat and bond, the ultra heat and bond, and it's you can iron it onto that board. You iron this. No, you put the felt onto the board, and then you iron on a binding to hold the felt on. And then as you make your squares, as you're getting ready to quilt, you set them up on the boards, and then you can stack the boards. And then when you bring them over to your machine, it doesn't ensure it completely that you're going to make this, that you're going to make the block appropriately, because it's real easy to twist and turn them. But it gives you more of a shot. You know, it's more of a, it's never a sure thing. It's like life, it's never a sure thing. Okay, so I got that. And what I got, another thing I got was 2 skeins of Heritage fingering weight to use on my knitting project that I kept talking about, that I finally started twice this week. The painting Brit's shawl. I really want to make this, only instead of black, I want to use off-white. What I did, I started it, I'm also using the colors from the Crafty Toads Forest Santa mini skein set. These are the colors that I'll be using. Well, most of them I'm doing off-white, so I won't be using those lighter colors. But the off-white I got from the Crafty Toads is it's a little more than tonal. It's not exactly variegated, but there's too much color in it, so that when I was trying to, let's show you, when I was doing the outlines, like the black areas in white, because it was other colors that were darker, you weren't seeing that definite outline, and I wanted a definite outline. So I said, when I go to the fiber show, I'll get some off-white. But I didn't see anything I wanted at the fiber show. And then I saw this the Natick store. So I got a couple of skeins of this. But that didn't work out either, I think. I mean, I've been working on it. So I started the first one, took it apart. I got about this far. I made I made the swatches. I did the pattern. Let's see if I can. I should go this way. Right, here's the right side, if I can stretch it out. Here's what it looks like. My pearls are all over the place. They're all lumpy and bumpy. I don't know if because it's not blocked or because I think the yarn's too soft. Well, who can ever say that yarn's too soft? This particular design is very squishy. It's really nice. It feels real nice, and this yarn feels perfect with it. But I think I need something not so nice and fluffy and a little coarser. Just, I think I do. I think I have to stop again. So that's the Cascade Heritage. Maybe this, I don't know. I'm going to still look. I think I'm going to stop this because that's how much I have done. But I like the way the colors are coming. The first two colors are very similar, but that's okay. And then there's a variegated in that for a second, third color, which has some green. So then I went out to the green, and then I have a darker green next. But I'm stopping there. And I'm going to go maybe over to, I don't know, skein yarns or 3 bags full and see if I can get something else. Okay, let me talk about my those two fat quarters that I bought at Natick because I want to do a black and white quilt. I was watching Pat Sloan last week, and she's doing what is called a string bean quilt, which is kind of like a play on a log cabin. That's it, with no color. And she took Tulip Pink, and in the Tulip Pink centers, she had a fat quarter bundle of Tulip Pinks. What the heck's the name of it? Well, she had I think it's line, something line, and it's mostly black and white designs. But you know, Tula loves animals. There are, long story short, I have a fat quarter of the same fabric. So I took all the blacks and whites, but that won't be enough to do a whole quilt. And every now and then there's a little bit of color in the black and white. But the only ones that I'm allowing the color to be in the quilt are the ones that are Tulip Pink actual color. This block, I don't know. This fabric, I don't know if I'm going to use because there's a lot of turquoise in it. I'll see when I put it on my design board. But I love her black and white, blacks and whites. So anyway, that's that piece of it. But she does do animals. Some of the blacks and whites have birds and stuff, which I could use as a center. But what I'm going to do for the centers, which are the size of the center, the size of the rectangle is 4.5 by 7.5. So I'm going to use some of this color for the centers. This one I have three panels of this, 3 10-inch squares. It's layer cake. I'm going to use the zebras, which has color in the center. That's why I'm considering putting the color in the centers. And I'm going to use the pandas. I think I have 3 of these. Okay, that's going to be the center. This is, I don't know, is this a lemur maybe? I don't know if I'll be able to get them actually in the center of a block. But I should be able to get 1 or 2 of them. Oh, I have 3 squares of this. And then here are some peacocks, I guess. Yeah. So I'm going to try to get 20. I think I'll make a 25 square. And then it would be square if I use 25 blocks. It's suggested to use 25 or 30. So I have that. But then I wanted more blacks and whites, which is why I picked up a couple of these two, because I always like polka dots. And then I'll use all the black and whites from the layer cake grouping. That's the pattern. But then I wanted more blacks and whites, and I didn't see exactly, nothing really moved me that I saw at Natick, even though they had a kabillion of them. So what I did, when we went to Sophisticated, that's where I found, I'm a sucker for numbers. I'm a sucker for numbers and words in fabric. So I got this black and white number grid. This is for something else. And here's a black and white lines. And I don't know, so snowflakes, but I'm not going to call them snowflakes. I'm going to call them white daisies. Doesn't matter what I call them. More black and white. I wanted some white side and some of the dark side. And so there we go. So there's my, oh yeah, and that quilt is called the String Bean Quilt. So my plan today, no, not for today. My plan for Friday is to cut out a bunch of squares. I'm going to try to get my fabric cut for Sunday, because Sunday I'm having is our monthly sit and sew is this Sunday in Cumberland. So I want to have a bunch of stuff ready so that I can just go in and make a bunch of squares. I found this really pretty fabric that I want to use for lining for those bags I talked about last week. I showed you those fabrics that I got from the So Hungry Hippo. That's for linings for bags. Okay, so that was our whole road trip and my acquisitions and all that. Okay, so I covered everything on my list. I'm doing another one of these grandma favorite dishcloths. There's always one somewhere on the needles. And in that printout that I showed you last week, the something mom, the crafty mom, I forgot what her name was. Well, anyway, she said she uses a size 9, so I threw these in my bag for when we went on the trip Sunday, but I was the driver, so I didn't do much knitting. And I'm using this kind of a dull, I mean, it's pastel, but pastel and cotton, it's just kind of eh. What's the word that I'm hearing online all the time today is meh, nah. Okay, but it's looking better knitted. And I'm using 9s. I've been using 7s. I'm most comfortable with 7s. These are not, this is 9s. This is on a 9 needle. And it's nice. It's actually knitted. It feels much nicer than picking up this ball. Because every time I pick this one up, I just didn't want to even use it. It's like, ew, but I'm liking it. So that's another thing I'm doing. I'm ongoing projects. Oh, I'm changing that. My unfinished quilt's not 4. I want 5. I want 5 in 100 days. I just thought of another one that's close to finishing. I ought to be able to finish those up. Okay. I've been decluttering. Yesterday, I dropped off 5 bags in a box and an old step exercise thing, you know, stepping. And I'm not going to do it. I got a treadmill in the living room. I'm not going to use a step. So I brought all that to Savers. I brought it to Savers yesterday. 5 more bags. I mean, I'm trying to do a bag a day, so I'm doing pretty good. I went through all the photos. I think I told you that, and I decreased those from about 5 boxes to 2 boxes. I cleared out all the closet downstairs in it's a closet between my sewing room and the boiler room, because that's where the heat, the boiler, it's not a boiler, it's not a furnace. Yeah, maybe it is a boiler, because we have steam heat. It is a boiler. And we have the hot water tank and all that stuff down in one section, and that's kind of sectioned off. So I got that room, that closet, which is a pretty good sized closet, cleared up and straightened out and decluttered. And this all goes back to about 3 weeks ago now, where we moved my long arm from being perpendicular to the wall to now being at a right angle to the wall, and moved back so I have more room. I've been cleaning everything down there and decluttering down there. I bought a couple of rugs to put downstairs, area rugs, just to kind of break up the flooring. I don't know. And sometimes it's more comfortable to stand on a rug. So I have one, like a rug in front of the ironing board and a rug in front of the cutting table and stuff like that. So I've got those that I have to put down there today. I'm at the point where I think I can actually finish the cleaning today. That's what's really on board for today. Finish the cleaning and arrange all the machines that are, well, there's not going to be many machines down there. There's one machine that I wasn't even going to set up. I was going to put it in the box, but I want to sell that one. And I haven't put it for sale yet. So then I thought, well, don't put it all in the box, because if you do want to sell it, people want to try it. So I think I'll set it up. I'll set that up as a machine downstairs. What I was, excuse me, what I was going to do is just set up, have a spot to have my featherweight or my new used baby lock down there, because I'll probably, those are one of the two machines that I'll be taking with me for sewing when I go to sit and sew, or any other classes I might take. And depending on what I'm going to sew on that day, I'll either take the featherweight if it's all just piecing, or if it's other things that might require some zigzags and stuff, because I bought the baby lock so that I'd have more stitching, more types of stitches. So one table downstairs is going to hold those two machines. I might put the brother, it's called a quilting, it's a sewing / quilting machine, because it's got about an 11-inch throat, and it has a lot of quilting stitches, and it's got automatic everything, you know, and it's got a walking foot, and it's really a good machine. It's just that I have a machine just like it upstairs that also embroiders. So I don't need two of those. The reason I have two, I got this second one that I want to sell, is because I was quilting on a dream frame, which was a brother quilting frame, and I was going to put my embroidery machine on it and quilt, and then take my quilting machine, take it off of it when I wasn't quilting, and embroider. But my husband said, "You're nuts, you're crazy, just go buy another machine." And he enables me all the time, so I'm not gonna not go if he tells me to go buy a machine. So put a machine, but that's the one I want to sell. It's a good machine. It's really good. I think it was probably $4,000 new, so it's a pretty good sewing machine. So I'll set it up in case anyone might be interested. They can come and try it. I still had my smaller quilting frame, my handy quilter frame, set up, and I put it on Craigslist a couple of weeks ago, but I'm seeing no interest. So I unassembled it and stuck it in the closet, because it was just taking up, it's got a small footprint. It doesn't take up much room, but when you've got a 10-foot quilter, you don't need another 5-foot quilter in the same room. So I took it apart and put it in the closet, and my son came by the other day, and I said, I put my little foot frame on Craigslist, and I didn't even get a call. He goes, "That's because no one buys things off Craigslist anymore. Facebook Marketplace, Facebook." So I didn't put it on. I put it on my Facebook page just in passing, saying I'm going to be selling my little foot, and I put a picture of it in a link to Craigslist, but no interest. So I put it in the closet, but maybe I'll put it on Facebook Marketplace. Still trying to declutter and get things more organized. I don't need as much as I have. When I was preparing for retirement, I thought I would need a lot, because there would be no money to spend. And there really isn't all that much money to spend, but I'm kind of working with a set of money, and that wouldn't be a set, an amount of money that I keep buying and selling things with. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, and then work it out that way for getting new equipment. So that's that for me today. How long have I been talking? 34 minutes. That's way too long. Let's stop right here. It was nice speaking with you all today. Thanks for visiting me in my little upstairs workshop. Maybe by next week I'll be broadcasting. This isn't a broadcast because it's not live. I'll be filming. It's not film, it's video. I'll be recording downstairs. Maybe. I want to have a recording place downstairs, because then it's a lot easier, because it's always quiet down there. and I can set up my camera permanently because I've been using my laptop lately. I don't even remember why. Probably because it's here. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week with a St. Patrick's Day dishcloth. Have a good week, everybody. And don't worry, the snow's not going to amount to anything. Famous last words. Bye now.